Because there's a lot of fear and misinformation in the country, and we need to cut through it with facts, with science, with the truth. So, what's really happening today? After months and months of cases going down, we're seeing a spike in COVID cases. They're going up. Why? Because of this new form, this new variant called the Delta variant.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Fun. Wow.
Happy Friday.
Fun. Oh, boy.
Wow!
Who read the internal CDC document?
That was a good time.
Remember how we thought this summer was going to be fun? Wow. And wow.
Yeah.
Hot back summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Where's do we have our just our regular fun? Just fun? Okay. Remember that? This is why we thought this. Remember a few weeks ago we thought this. No. The Delta variant of the coronavirus appears to cause more severe illness than earlier variants and spreads as easily as chickenpox.
Oh.
Thank you, Sean. Just have that at the ready. According to an internal federal document that argues officials must acknowledge the war has changed. Oh, okay. Hold, please. Research suggests vaccinated people can spread the virus.
Oh.
So that's us. Okay.
Fun.
Yeah, also fun. The document strikes an urgent note, revealing the agency knows it must revamp its public messaging to emphasize vaccination as the best defense against a variant so contagious it acts almost like a different novel virus. It's entirely new. Yeah, it's great. It's all new again. Leaping from target to target more swiftly than Ebola or the common cold. Oh, super. Lots of fun. Just great. Chickenpox, Ebola. It's everything old is new again.
Yeah.
Just when we thought we were out of the... Yeah. It cites a combination of recently obtained, still unpublished data from the outbreak investigations and outside studies showing that vaccinated individuals infected with Delta may be able to transmit the virus as easily as those who are unvaccinated. Vaccinated people infected with Delta have measurable loads similar to those who are unvaccinated and infected with the variant. Isn't that great? Because we all did the right thing, and then all these COVIDiots and maskholes.
This is why we have anger.
Yes, because it's...
Our anger is justified.
Right. It would not have mutated in the first place had
Right.
everyone just... Okay. The study cited in the document played a key role in revamped recommendations that call for everyone, vaccinated or not, to wear masks indoors in public settings in certain circumstances. One of the slides states that there is a higher risk among older age groups for hospitalization and death relative to younger people, regardless of vaccination status. That would be my 98-year-old. Vaccinated in a nursing home where hardly anybody is, and there's been lots of new cases, so it's shut down again because they don't. Right. Okay. Which is kind of common sense that obviously older or more immune compromised people are still at risk.
Yes.
Because of these holes. Oh my God, the anger it's eating me. I don't know. Is it eating me from the inside, like that acid shooting scorpion?
You're like an
acid shooting
acid-
land lobster, or is it eating me from the outside? I can't. Is it from outside influences that I'm eating from the outside
No,
with
I think
anger?
you're one of those scorpions and you're a little backed up. It's like acid reflux, literally,
Okay.
from your ass.
I have a lot of acid that is eating me alive.
Yes.
Anger acid.
Now, do you understand why I want them to die?
Yes, I understand it. However, I can't go there because I have people that I love that are either not vaccinated or vulnerable to people that aren't. The presentation highlights the daunting task the CDC faces. It must continue to emphasize the proven efficacy of the vaccines at preventing severe illness and death while acknowledging milder breakthrough infections may not be so rare after all, and that vaccinated individuals are transmitting the virus. The vaccines are not as effective in immune-compromised patients and nursing home residents. I'm sorry, the acid's starting to rise inside, raising the possibility that some at-risk individuals will need an additional vaccine dose. Okay. All right. By the way, to your point, Travis, Chris Hayes with a good one. He said, you're telling me I have to buckle my seatbelt even though I have airbags? Either the airbags work or the seatbelt works, but it can't be both. See, because they're idiots, the Republicans,
Yeah.
and they're right. Which
Yeah.
is it, masks or vaccines? And don't. Okay.
Yeah.
And you already had Ted Cruz. Oh, God. Right? The CDC is the most. What did he say? Any agency ever lost credibility more quickly? Science changes,
Yes.
and it's because of you idiots that we still have to wear masks. It's not hard to understand, right?
Science understands evolution,
Oh, how about
and
this?
that's what's happening to this virus.
Do we have any USA chance, or maybe just God bless the United States? The U.S. has the highest number of new COVID cases in the world.
Again.
God bless the United States.
USA, USA. Oh, hi. Good morning, Malcolm Nance. Oh, well, pardon you while you hydrate. Hello.
He's drinking some Schadenfreude.
Oh, is that what? Oh, he's drinking a lot of it.
Great
Wow.
big bottle of
Okay.
Schadenfreude.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was
No,
that?
that is my Archer-like finger up. Hold on for a second. Having to absorb the mass quantities of Schadenfreude laced with, the opprobrium of some of the BS that we heard from Republicans yesterday. It led me to not only hydrating but drinking. So it's been a day.
Yeah. I mean, you quoted Officer Fanone behaviors of some politicians when he pounded the table and said disgraceful. And you said this is the fire of justice we all need to embrace. I mean, just the emotion and as we said, Malcolm, Officer Fanone's a Republican. Officer Sicknick was a Republican that voted for Donald Trump. I mean, it's the fact that that's why it seemed to me what Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger said was so powerful. I mean, in terms of how did any of this get to be partisan?
Well, absolutely. And I would like to place emphasis on was a Republican, because I'm pretty sure right now they have seen the light. And we all know that Donald Trump, Trumpism, and the way the Republican Party operates today spells your doom in the end, right? Most of the activities they participate in stems from that. And I said this very early on in the Trump administration, the attitude that they are masters of the universe, that they control the destiny of the party and anyone who allies themselves with them. We know that this leads to bloodshed, hatred, and as Officer Fanone's case, his famous words are the first words of my upcoming book about the coming Trump insurgency. Kill him with his own gun.
Yeah.
This is what you get from people who you think support Donald Trump. They think that he is this, glorious God Emperor of the United States. We see him for the dictator that he is. Now it's all being laid bare in these hearings. And this is going to be the first of many hearings. But Republicans are still stuck in this cult. And until they come out of it, and I don't think they will, I think Adam Kinzinger and Lynn Cheney are the last two people of decency in that party.
Yeah.
They won't. They will support Trump to the end. And let me mark my words, Steph. They fully intend to take back power next November 22.
Yeah.
They will put Donald Trump as Speaker of the House. They've said it themselves that they will do it now. That was Jason Johnson's prediction. Now the Republicans have adopted this.
Yeah.
They will make him Speaker. They will disassemble the Biden administration. They will fund nothing. Trump will run for president in 2024, and they will use that to win back power. And their democracy will truly end.
Yeah. Here, speaking of Officer Fanone, take a listen. This one.
In the academy, we learn about time, place, and circumstance in investigating potential crimes and those who may have committed them. And so the time, the place, and the circumstances of that rally, that rhetoric, and those events, to me, leads in the direction of our president and other members, not only of Congress and the Senate, but that is what I am looking for, is an investigation into those actions and activities which may have resulted in the events of January 6th, and also whether or not there was collaboration between those members, their staff, and these terrorists.
And by the way, you were as glad as we all were, you in particular, that they all used the word terrorist. You said in January 2021, I wrote in the Washington Post op-ed in January, that we have to shame these insurrectionists by defining their deadly actions, call them what they are, terrorists. Rioters to me seems spontaneous. That's not what this was, right?
Yeah, and your listeners, stop using that word. Stop calling them rioters. You can choose one of two words. Insurrectionists, which is a violation of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which means that they started the armed overthrow of the United States government, or terrorists, because they carried out acts of terrorism in doing this.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, when you land on a fun fake name, beat it to death. That's what I do.
That's what we do here in Clear Lake, Iowa.
Dick Pinch, Clear Lake, Iowa.
Okay.
There you go. I should visit. I mean, I'm using this name so often, I should visit Clear Lake, Iowa.
Yeah.
I should just go there and say I've been there. So I round out the character.
So, Bob, I mean, not just playing Kinzinger and Cheney, who were some of the most powerful speakers, frankly, but, you know, it's interesting. Officer Dunn mentioned that he voted for Biden. That's when he got called the N-word, you know, because they said nobody voted for Biden. But anyway, I thought it's interesting. Officer Fanone, for one, has been clear about it. He's a Republican. Officer Sicknick voted for Donald Trump and his girlfriend, who's been out speaking. I mean, this should never have been, like COVID, should never have been partisan. Right? I mean, this was an attack on our Capitol. They wanted to hang Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence. I mean,
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
The difference between Officer Fanone and other Republicans is that Officer Fanone is a patriot. You could say the same thing about Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. They're Republicans, but they're also patriots. And this is something that's drastically missing from the rest of the Republican Party.
Right.
The Trump-controlled Republican Party, patriotism is irrelevant unless it means we can yell at black people for kneeling during the anthem. That's their idea of patriotism now.
You pointed out on Twitter, Bob, if this isn't an ad in every congressional district next month, next year, this was Officer Gunnell.
Yeah. What we were suggested that day was like something from a medieval battle. We fought hand to hand, inch by inch, to prevent an invasion of the Capitol by a violent mob intent on subverting our democratic process. My fellow officers and I were committed to not letting any rioters breach the Capitol. It was a prolonged and desperate struggle. The rioters attempted to breach the Capitol were shouting, "Trump, send us. Pick the right side. We want Trump."
Yeah. I mean, you said it, Bob. You said Trump ordered an army of thugs to violently invade and occupy Congress and overturn the results of a free and fair election. Every normal politician, Democrat or Republican, should be repeating this sentence into every available microphone until justice is served. Boom. Right?
Yeah, I was really happy, not with the content of the testimony, but some of the language that was used. Obviously, you were talking earlier about the word terrorism being used in the context of the insurrectionists. But Officer Gunnell had another good set of words that he was using to define what happened on that day, which is an invasion of Congress. It's important that we emphasize this, and that's why I meant about the usage in advertisements and things like that in every congressional district next year, to emphasize the fact that this wasn't just the kind of looting that we saw last summer. This was this is a whole other level. This was an invasion of Congress in order to overthrow a democratic election, in order to steal away all of our votes and throw the election to the other guy. They wanted to occupy Congress, hold hostage members of Congress from both chambers, potentially assassinating members of Congress, and also at the same time possibly hanging the vice president. And so you can't possibly begin to believe the gaslighting that is coming from the red hats right now about, well, you guys did it last summer, so we just thought we'd do it at the Capitol building on the 6th. No, there's no equivalence between these two things, and we need to fight back vigorously against that equivalence, no matter where it comes from, whether it comes from the Trump Republicans or from the media or whatever.
Sexual tension.
Just a little bit. Okay. All right.
I was cheating on him with Steve Austin.
So, Charlie, speaking of...
Is Steve Austin in the studio?
Yes.
He is.
Steve Austin.
Hi, Steve Austin.
He's in the puppy playpen. During the Mommy's radio show.
He's in puppy jail.
Yes, puppy prison. Okay.
Puppy detention.
Yeah,
exactly.
Chris already noted that he, I believe by the end of this show, will be too big for this particular. He is at least twice as big as when I rescued him 2 weeks ago.
He is.
Charlie.
He's big.
He outgrew his first collar in 2 days.
Pointing that out on Twitter, that every picture every picture you take of him, he's like twice as big as the last one.
Leon is getting larger. Okay. Charlie, yes, we are all about the getting vaccinated this morning, and just yay NFL, yay Department of Veterans Affairs, yay these the medical groups. And you said no jab, no play should have been the ironclad rule of these Olympics. You can't make people take care of themselves, except that you kind of can. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah,
you said this is the Olympics that should not be.
100 American athletes were unvaccinated. How did they even get into Japan?
Yeah.
How do you travel? How do you get? I mean, I can't believe you were the first person I read this. You said, you said, how the hell is this possible? Leaving aside the question why Japan even allowed these 100 athletes to enter the country, it should have been beyond question. Every participant in these games to be vaccinated and carry proof thereof. If some of the nations that can't afford it, the IOC should have paid for roving vaccination teams all over the world. Mm-hmm. Again, a lot of this, Charlie, seems like a no-brainer in places where you're clustered together like the NFL or the Army or right. I mean, it's
well at the Olympics they're enforcing the quarantine, so you don't get
right.
One of the great things about the Olympics, anybody who ever competed in the Olympics will tell you, is mixing around with the other athletes from around the world, and occasionally finding yourselves mixing in private too.
Yes,
but
mixing.
They're enforcing that, so they're keeping them all together at the same time, not enforcing a vaccine mandate.
Yeah,
which is bizarre.
Right. Well, I loved how you expanded it to the GOP. You said there's a lot of talk about how the party of personal responsibility might finally be coming around to the fact that being the party of the walking Petri dishes might be rather a bummer come next election. Of course, this development occurs just as every newspaper in America runs a column explaining that those of us who took action to keep ourselves and others safe should be careful offending the tender fifis of the no microchips please crowd. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm done. And you said Governor, what's her name? Kay of Alabama. You said, so the thing is, Governor Kay, you can make people take care of themselves. In fact, in certain circumstances, you do it all the time. You're so close. Take that last step. Make people take care of themselves. When she has the lowest vaccination rate in the country, Charlie, and she's like, well, I've done all I can do. She was one of the first people to lift the mask mandate, right?
Right. Well, not just that. I mean, look at, anybody who gets busted in Alabama for drunk driving from now on should go to court and say, hey, it's not the state's responsibility to keep me safe or keep anyone else safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't know which headline is more. The U.S. coronavirus cases maybe double the official tally.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, what, Charlie?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Here, okay.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, we've been talking about this. A new study out, U.S. coronavirus cases maybe double the official tally. I mean, it's just everything we hear is and just one heartbreaking story after another, Charlie, that I guess, and speaking of Governor Kay, this was in Alabama. Did you see this one? I see. I can't be as bloodthirsty as the Hurry Up and Die caucus led by Chris Lavoie here on the Stephanie Miller Show.
Oh, for God's sake, just die.
I mean, Charlie, maybe we're going to hear more of these stories as why the vaccination rates are inching up. Christy Carpenter finds strength in her family and faith, but on some days one question keeps ringing in her head: why? After weeks of battling through oxygen treatments, her 28-year-old son died in the hospital 2 months after being diagnosed with COVID. Now in Carpenter's Alabama home, the room belonging to Kurt, her beautiful baby boy, her firstborn, remains empty, a painful reminder of a life that could have been saved if the family had decided to get vaccinated. She said, it took watching my son die and me suffering the effects of COVID for us to realize we need the vaccine. We didn't get vaccinated when we had the opportunity and regret that so much now. She said she's determined not to let her son's death be futile. If Kurt were here today, he would make it his mission to encourage everybody to get vaccinated. Kayla, his sister, and I are carrying on the mission in his memory. So they all got COVID. Kurt, his younger sister, his mother were diagnosed. His last uttered phrase, still etched in Christy Carpenter's mind: "This is not a hoax," he said, "this is real." Mm-hmm. His mother said he first believed it was a hoax. It took years to create the vaccines, and the coronavirus vaccine was created very quickly. That made us nervous. Their reluctance is not unique in the state with the lowest vaccination rate, Charlie. I mean, that's... And the problem is, I don't know how many times we can say it. This mRNA research has been going on for years, right? And it's, I mean... And Trump, by the way, saying he came up with the vaccine. I mean, Pfizer didn't take any money, and they were first.
Yeah, in his laboratory at Mar-a-Lago.
Yes, his laboratory. Anyway, I mean, Charlie, are you a little bit hopeful? I was saying we are seeing vaccination rates inch up. I don't know whether it's more stories like this, more sticks. What do you think it'll take?
Well, I mean, it's certainly not for lack of, doses. Right. And lack of places to get them. I mean, you can't. I don't think we can do very much more than we've already done, making it accessible. Mm-hmm. I think that if families like this one that you read, the story you just read, if more and more of those stories come out, that might be very helpful.
Yeah.
Hey, we were dumb. Don't be dumb like us. People understand that.
Yeah.
People understand, repentance. People understand regret.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are much more helpful in their own way. And God knows I wish there weren't any of them. Those are a lot more helpful than being preached at, I think.
Yeah.
Good morning, Stephanie. Rebar is not so much a dude thing as it is a your people kind of thing.
What does that mean? Who's my people?
Lesbian kind of thing.
Oh, it's I'm not that kind of lesbian, as we know. I am pure lipstick. Okay. I thank you for you texted me and you tweeted an afternoon in Northern Virginia with President Biden and Terry McAuliffe. Great to see so many kids volunteering. And you sent me a video because they were playing my theme song in the background.
They sure were.
Because that's my demo. Because that's my. Yeah. Was she here? Hang on. Where is it?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Here we go.
It's the Stephanie Miller Show. I'm walking on sunshine. Well, I'm walking on sunshine. Well, I'm gonna feel good.
Okay. All right.
Messi?
Yeah. Say hi, Stephanie Miller.
Hi, Stephanie Miller.
All right. That's precious. Aww. Okay. She's probably 53 and now Terry
McAuliffe's
was not
there.
Campaign
she's
manager.
In her mid-20s. No longer a kid anymore.
Yeah. But you could tell it was my people. Okay. Well, that must have been exciting. Very exciting.
It was great.
Also, you said lawsuits against the Virginia Department of Education over its model policy protecting transgender students has been dismissed. Mm-hmm. Good for you.
That's right. Very pleased about that.
Yeah.
Even if it hadn't been dismissed, Fairfax County now protects transgender students. But very good news for the rest of the Commonwealth, indeed.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy, as a former campaign strategist, this party is really flailing. So we just got the news this morning. U.S. economy grew by 6.5%, marking a full recovery from the pandemic. Again, Biden's approval rating in the high 60s on the pandemic.
Yeah.
As we were saying, this is becoming an avalanche now of which I had hoped it would, of not just state and federal, but private businesses mandating vaccination. And like I say, this appears to have blown up in Kevin McCarthy's face this January 6th. He was thoroughly outplayed by Nancy Pelosi. Don't you think? I mean, this, you can see,
And reality.
even day 1 or 2, you can see exactly why they didn't want this investigate. And this has just begun, right?
I think it was obvious why they didn't want this, because it would show that they've played such a significant part in allowing this to happen. And, you know, you look at these numbers, and the numbers are all encouraging, but what are Republicans in Washington trying to do? They're trying to slow down recovery efforts. And so undermining the vaccine, undermining science has led to a point where we are reverting. And it's a reversion that's forced by people not taking personal responsibility for themselves and the people around them and getting vaccinated. Yeah. And that's why the Delta variant is taking off like it is, and why we worry about future variants that could be vaccine resistant.
I mean, so Lauren Boebert threw a mask in the face of a floor staffer. Where is this? The name of the putt-putt? What's it? Chip Roy. Chip Roy.
Yeah.
In where's that? Amarillo? Or I don't know where it is. But okay, this is him having literally a hissy fit on the House floor yesterday. 3.
We have a crisis at our border.
Oh God!
And we're playing footsie with mask mandates in the People's House. I mean, it's absolutely absurd what this body is doing, the People's House. It's an embarrassment. It's a mockery. And the American people are fed up. They want to go back to life. They want to go back to business. They want to go back to school without their children being forced to wear masks, to be put in a corner, to have mental health issues. And we're running around here, and the speaker comes down here at 10 o'clock in the morning saying we got to wear masks in the People's House.
Just there. You are on a school board. These are just toddlers having tantrums.
Yes.
And Lauren Boebert literally threw a mask at a House staffer. This is the House physician that has ordered this. What is Kevin McCarthy talking about? It is exactly the science. It is the science right now.
Yes, it is.
Yes, and it is 100% of Democrats are vaccinated in the House. Is 40-something% of Republicans.
Well, and
yeah, go ahead.
His name is Chip, so the childish behavior probably fits.
Right.
But again, these are people who won't tell you whether or not they're vaccinated. And that tells you almost everything you need to know.
Yes.
Either they're too busy coddling the very people who are causing this problem, and therefore they're afraid to let people know that they trust the science personally.
Wait, you can tell if you answer anything other than yes, you know what the answer is.
Yes.
Someone was like, oh, that's personal. And I liked how someone turned it around and said, yes, it is a personal decision. That's why I'm asking you personally what your decision was.
Yeah.
Because we have a right to know. What about the rights of the vaccinated, right?
Well, and that's the thing. You know, people who are vaccinated and who have begun to kind of go about their business, not wearing masks at different events and whatnot, are now being, pulled back because of people who are not vaccinated.
Thank you. We're doing it to protect you again.
And we're angry about that.
Right? We're doing it to protect these dumbasses again. I mean, okay, sorry, I'm yelling. One more, Chip Roy, just because. Why not?
And we have people infected with COVID coming across our southern border into Texas.
Oh,
and
God.
you all put masks up front here on the People's House. We got to go around and see, okay, we can't come to the floor. I can't execute my constitutional duty unless I wear a mask.
Listen to his
Which
voice.
is it? Vaccines or masks?
Both!
Vaccines work or they don't work. Do the masks work so they don't work?
Oh, my God.
I'd like to know which it is.
Make him stop.
Willful
I can't
idiocy.
Right, I can't get through the levels of idiocy. Okay, one more. Yeah, just one more, because this is... Go ahead.
I'd like Dr. Fauci to come down
Stop
and answer
yelling.
a single question about natural immunity. You've been infected with a virus. Do you have immunity? Or are they just going to go around poking people saying you must take a vaccine? Oh, but sorry, the vaccine doesn't work. You must wear a mask.
What?
This institution is a sham. And we should adjourn and shut this place down.
Yes, you need to shut Congress down because...
He doesn't have...
You're welcome to leave, sir.
Yeah, he
Do
doesn't...
they really not get the basic science
No.
behind why we need both because of morons
they
like
don't.
you?
They don't care about the basic science. They care about driving a wedge to inflame their base because that's all they've got left.
Yeah.
They don't care.